Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and with me as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, the man who can't get that hawk out of his eye, Steven.
The purple-clad archer dog dad.
Wow.
The purple-clad archer dad. The purple-clad. I know that does rhyme when you say it right, so that I like that. I like that. And then of course, the other voice you see, he's the big man in green. We call him Big G. But his name's Jeremy. What's
for
up,
Big
buddy?
Green.
For Big Green.
No.
Big
That's
Green, Big Germ. That's what we also call him. So I'm still working on Jeremy's intro. All right. Maybe at some point I'll figure it out, but it's not today.
Not today.
Not today.
The look on Hulk's face in your nameplate, Jeremy, is what I feel like I look like when I just drank a lot of water after being dehydrated.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chortle Cast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. And while we talk about it, we usually play a game while we do the podcast. And you can see that on our screens if you watch on YouTube, which is chortlegames.com. Or if you're watching on Facebook, that's at Chortle Games on Facebook. You can see our gameplay. We're actually playing Avengers today. We're all three playing. So
Third day in a row
of straight Avengers content. We're obsessed. We're
actually playing a game that we all enjoy.
We're gonna be talking about Avengers a lot today because we had the Square Enix Presents that had a bunch of exciting Avengers news, and then of course Falcon Winter Soldier launched this week. So we're going to be talking all about
Marvel
that.
exists again. It's great.
Marvel is back, baby, back in full swing. We're having a full year of Marvel, but anyway, we're going to talk all about that and then just whatever the heck we want to talk about because we usually talk about video games, TV shows, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. Let's just jump into it. Let's start with the Square Enix Presents because that was a thing that happened this week that I still don't really understand why it happened. Because really, I don't know. Did you guys like? There was one. Project Athia was it was really the only other thing that I heard about that I was like, great. That was a good announcement. Everything else was very lame. So it felt like a very strange presentation for me.
I think I don't think it was necessarily a bad presentation because they had stuff that was worth talking about. But they did kind of bury the lead a little bit.
They buried a lot of leads.
They didn't talk about a lot of the important stuff with Avengers, which led to some miscommunication that we'll talk about in a bit.
Right.
A lot of people, for some reason, care about Life is Strange. And so a lot of people were really excited about that. And they kind of telegraphed that this would be a Life is Strange focused thing. So for people who were into that, it was good, but I don't know. I've seen worse,
right?
But I've definitely seen better.
It was pretty bad as far as those go. So they started off the show with Outriders, and it didn't really announce anything new per se, but it was a great, or as Steven would describe it, as a great kind of overall, here's everything you need to know about this game.
Like you guys have probably heard us talk about this Outriders game for the past like 3 months. Every week it gets a shout out.
At least you've heard Steven talk about it.
Steven's contractually obligated to at least mention it once.
I'm on the take. Sven's paying me on the side to talk about Outriders. But so for those of you who have heard that and they're just like, what even is this game? This is the kind of video that would be perfect for you. Because Outriders, they've had like 4 or 5 broadcasts over the course of about 9 months. Well, no, it's been about a year now,
mm-hmm.
Where they talk about the various aspects of the game, and those are each about 15 to 30 minutes long. But if you were just like, look, I don't want to have to watch all that nonsense. Just give me a 6-minute
fast
video.
And quick, yeah.
This is that kind of thing, which is good because Outriders comes out in a week, pretty much.
That's
like
crazy
a week and a half.
that it's coming out.
Yeah.
That's
so excited. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm really excited for Outriders.
Are you excited?
I think so.
I haven't heard you talk about it at all.
I don't really think you're that excited about it.
Are you sure? I could have sworn that I was. Oh, well. But it's too late probably for them to like they've kind of shown their hand from day one. So when they need to talk about the game, like hype it up, and this just shows people can fly. The developers, this has been their strategy since the beginning, has been if we're going to hype up the game, we're going to do it in such a way to where we make sure that people understand us. Like, don't put some dangerous expectations on the game that it can't fulfill, like Cyberpunk did.
Right.
They've been very good about managing the hype, and I think that them doing a 6-minute summation video of what the game is was a very smart move. They just need to make sure that they put it forward everywhere they can. Like be talking about it a lot on social media, try to get the video shared so that people can start talking about it. Because its only problem right now is that either people don't know a lot about it or they misunderstand it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can go watch that video. It is a great summation of what is all there. They also talked a little bit about Tomb Raider. It's her 25th anniversary. You can go look
Lara
at all
Croft
the fun
cookbook, baby.
Oh man, that was just that to me. That was just such an insult. It was like, wow, okay, a cookbook. All right, good to go. Like, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like a huge Lara Croft fan, but I do like the franchise. But I just was like, wow, I'd hate to be a big fan of this.
There's a recipe in there called Croft mac and cheese.
I really, God, I hope so.
My God.
I really hope so. What would be some other recipes that they could have put in there? I don't know. Kraft mac and cheese is pretty
triangle boob shaped sandwiches.
The triangle burger. Love it.
You can really taste the pixels.
But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff there if you're interested in that. Trying to think of what else happened.
Well, they did announce the remastered collection, didn't they?
There is a remastered collection, so that's fun.
And that's good news because that's a good trilogy.
It is.
So if you haven't played those yet, that is really good.
Those are all really good. So you can go find all those there. They announced a Just Cause mobile game, which
we knew about it, but they just talked about it a little bit more because we saw that last year, I think, at some point. Which it was weird because when I saw that, I was just like, oh, what are we going to see now? Because when they announced it, I don't even remember what they announced it at last year, but it was definitely at something. We saw gameplay back then. I could have sworn.
Oh, really?
We did not see any gameplay of any kind here. So we actually learned nothing that I know of about the Just Cause mobile game that we didn't already know.
That game just sounds like chaos. I really.
That's why I kind of want to try it. I'm just curious. Just cause.
Just cause. I don't know how that game will function, but I am.
It's supposed to be like a top-down shooter.
Oh gosh, that sounds even stranger.
Yeah, that's what I remember saying.
They made the trailer look,
and people are just like, Steven, no one has uttered anything about Just Cause Mobile. I might be a future teller, whatever they call those people.
A seant.
A seant?
A savant?
Savant?
Something like that.
Savant sounds like something.
Okay. They also...
That's what you call some sort of person.
Yeah.
They spent an uncomfortably long amount of time on Life is Strange. And
Life is Strange.
Yeah, Steven did not like how they were talking to him. He felt disrespected.
I felt violated. Like, because this dude and this chick, they probably work on the game, but they are like standing there in this dark room talking like this the whole time. And like, it just made me uncomfortable. It was too intimate for a video game announcement.
It was weird, but yeah, there's a new Life is Strange game out where your superpower is you can see emotions or something. If you're into that, great.
My emotions.
I'm so happy for you if you're into that, but it was a lot. It was a lot for somebody who was not interested.
It's like someone took like One Tree Hill, Riverdale, like the CW shows or Freeform shows, whatever, and just made it into a video game that has no gameplay.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. If you like that, great. I don't understand.
Happy for you. We just don't get it. We're not in that realm. But yeah, they talked about that. And then let me see if there was anything else worth really mentioning. We talked about Outriders, talked about Tomb Raider, talked about Just Cause. They did there's a Hitman Sniper game coming to mobile. And then there's also an AR Space Invaders mobile game, which they just kind of did a cool concept trailer for. We didn't actually see what it would look like. But I'm assuming it's something like, Pokemon Go, but with invaders. But so I don't know how.
There's an invasion happening up my street. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, we got to go stop this invasion.
Get in, loser. We're going alien invasion stopping.
Invasion stopping. So yes. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be cool.
The apocalypse.
Hopefully it'll be cool. That's definitely.
I mean, that sounds really cool in concept. Like that's something you could say to me, like AR Space Invaders, and I'd just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'd try it. Like that sounds like it'd be kind of fun.
Absolutely. I'd try it too. Just really curious what it's gonna how it.
I feel like the majority of the games that they announced and talked about were all, hey, I'll try it once.
Right.
But it's definitely not something.
Except for the Lara Croft cookbook that's getting framed in my house.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna buy 10 of them so I can do.
Yeah, that's your new wallpaper. Each page of the book is a part of the wallpaper.
I love it. They also then, of course, talked a lot about Marvel's Avengers. They started off with a look at the Hawkeye update because that launched that day, right? I think that was
that day. Yeah, it was literally live an hour before the showcase started.
Right. So they just kind of showcased everything that was happening there. And then they also gave us a look at the not release schedule. What's the word I'm looking for?
Roadmap.
Roadmap. Thank you. They showed us a little bit of the roadmap of stuff to come. And of course, the big thing out of that was Black Panther is going to be the next hero that comes.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be coming later in 2021, like in the summer. So exciting stuff. He's going to be a really cool character, I think.
If I may, like when you're at a point where
you may not.
Okay.
Please continue. I'm just joking.
Okay. Just to add some context to it, because Avengers is one of those games to where I feel like every time news happens, I just want to hug the game. I just want to give this game a hug because they're trying. They really are.
Right.
But things just keep blowing up in their faces, and it's not really their fault. Because this time, the day before the showcase happened, they invited a bunch of content creators, so like people who stream on like Twitch or YouTube for the Avengers. They invited them to a private briefing of what they were going to show off.
Right.
But what they showed the streamers was more than what they showed at the showcase for the sake of time or whatever, or maybe it was just.
And we still don't really know everything they showed them, right?
We do.
Oh, we do?
Because the embargo was lifted like 3 hours after the showcase happened.
It was at like 6 p.m. that night.
Yeah. So the problem that happened was that you had these people who most of the content creators, the community would describe as shills, I think is the word. Basically, they just are just like, oh my gosh, that's the most amazing thing ever. They're overexcited just for the sake of views.
Right.
But there was one guy, I forget his name, but he was really talking it up, and he's been very realistic with the game. So that's when people were like, okay, this, like, I'm listening, something big is coming. Because he used a lot of big things like fans of Marvel Heroes, which is a Diablo-like Marvel MMO that got shut down a few years ago. He was like, fans of that are going to like cry tears of joy. He was saying that in a 10-minute presentation, he had like 6 to 8 wow moments. Like it was just like, we were expecting a lot.
Right.
I was over there talking to Jeremy. I was like, oh man, Darth Vader is going to get announced for this game. That's about like that's my expectation.
That's how high your expectations are right
now. So we all went in expecting a lot, and they did present a lot because
I'll go through this roadmap here in a minute. It's a lot of stuff. Not, I think undoubtedly the biggest thing is Black Panther, right? But
yes,
there is some good info in here.
The problem with what they showed at the showcase, because that's where everybody was expecting, because the content creators weren't told what would be shown at the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just like, oh my gosh, like put all your eyes towards the showcase. That's where everything's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so people expected like a bunch of new characters announced, or just a bunch of content. They expected the game to be fixed overnight, basically. And that's just not what happened. No. But there's a lot of good stuff. Basically, all they showed was they didn't even show the whole roadmap in the showcase. I don't know if you noticed that. They showed a partial roadmap because they hadn't done the announcement for Black Panther yet.
Right.
So some of the stuff was missing from the screen capture of the showcase.
Yeah.
But then when we like it was met with poor reception after the fact because people were expecting more. But then when they lifted the embargo and everything, it all sounds like really good stuff.
So I don't even. I was about to say let's back up. So is the roadmap you sent me, is that everything that came off the embargo?
The one that that is everything. Okay, but they talked about a few more details outside of that, but it was just a bunch of like gameplay details that like the Hank Pym summon. That was something that everybody got really excited about, which I'm really excited about that because that means that major artifacts could start getting just really crazy.
So here's what I'm going to do. Jeremy, I need you to defend my body. Get you a dual wielding nunchuck, 2 nunchuck men, and defend my body in the next wave. I'm just going to read through their roadmap and kind of talk through what they've got here. So, and Steven, at the end, you can fill in any blanks that we've got. So the first thing, they're obviously March, the Hawkeye expansion has come out. We're going to talk about that here in a bit because we've been playing a good bit of it. Steven's loving Hawkeye. If you haven't been watching our streams,
I knew it within 10 seconds.
He is great. So new hero, new villain and story, free upgrade to next gen. The reassemble campaign can now be replayed, which a lot of people were asking for. So that's the main story campaign can be replayed. Yes. There's a customizable harm room, which we can do. We should do that for a stream sometime, Steven. You should just make us a gauntlet to run through.
15 dreadbots.
Coming in spring, they're doing the Tachyon Anomaly, where you can play as any combination of your heroes, of your favorite heroes. So we could do all Iron Mans, all Thors, all Hulks, whatever. They're gonna have Tachyon missions scaled for power levels 1 through 100.
And that's really good news,
right?
Like just a subtle thing, having a lower threshold
for some of the bigger missions.
Power,
yeah.
They're
doing a Red Room takeover, which is enter the Red Room with a new themed harm room content. They're talking about new,
and
hero
that's going to
outfits.
Actually be a story expansion as well. Like it's going to be about Black Widow's rival or whatever. She's taking over the harm room, and that's what spurs that on. So that's like a mini story piece alongside being a Black Widow crossover event that isn't connected to the film.
Right. Oh yeah, I guess Black Widow's coming out eventually, so maybe that's where they'll tie that in. Then looking to
that's the thing.
I keep forgetting that's the thing that's coming. Looking to summer and beyond, there's going to be they're calling it the Cosmic Cube. What's the main villain's name? I want to say Moira, but that's not
Monica
right.
Rappaccini.
Monica Rappaccini, otherwise known as the Scientist Supreme. There's going to be a villain sector for her, where she's using the Cosmic Cube to fight.
And it apparently, just to add more context, the content creators got to see footage of this.
They showed a little bit of it at the showcase, but
I think they got to see a good bit of footage, if I remember right. They said that like you fight Monica and an army of Monicas or something.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm excited about that.
They're doing the Wasteland Patrol, which is a new Warzone mission type for patrol mode, which is kind of like I don't even know if Destiny is a good comparison, but you can just in Destiny, you can just run around the map and just do like public events and other things like that, patrols, and just kind of farm materials and stuff like that way.
Because they said that enemies respawn, objectives respawn. So it's a place that you can go into and just be like, I don't intend on leaving this place for like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just do stuff the whole time. So if you just want to work on your character, like farm out materials or gear or whatever, that's what this is for. And this is where that one guy, Tony Bing, that's his name,
mm-hmm.
the content creator for Avengers, that's where he got the Marvel Heroes comparison, because that is there was a mode in Marvel Heroes called Midtown Manhattan where you would enter a part of New York and it was just a war zone of heroes versus villains, and players would just roam around and like fight a bunch of randomly spawned bosses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he compared it to that because it was just a place you could go into and just do for hours and just be farming stuff out.
Right.
A good quality of life thing that this game needs.
Yeah, that'll be really nice. Excuse me. New war zones and assignments within the Wasteland region, so that'll be cool. And then, of course, War for Wakanda. We're getting the new hero Black Panther, new hero outfits. There's going to be a power level increase. We're going to have new villains, including Claw, which I hope doesn't mean just Claw, but we'll see.
As far as like, it's probably going to be just Claw.
I would imagine, but it's just funny that they say including new villains, including Claw, and it's like, okay. So,
then maybe it's not just Claw. I know that there's a Claw faction.
There's a Claw faction. I don't know. Who knows? I know one of the big complaints that everyone has is like there's two villain sectors. Well, there's really only two villain fights.
We've killed Taskmaster and Abomination so many times.
Right. So obviously Claw would be a new villain sector that you could do, but I'm hoping they add at least one other one. It would be nice if, every couple of years, almost like Destiny, Destiny has one big expansion at the beginning of the year. That adds a little bit new story content, usually a new map or something. It would be nice to see Avengers kind of get in that groove where like, hey, here's two new heroes pretty early on, we'll have a third hero before the end of the year kind of thing. And then here's a new villain, here's a new place to hang out at, maybe a new raid or something. That would be nice to see them get into some kind of groove like that. But anyway, continuing on. I said new faction, enemies, new Claw faction, new story, obviously, the new Wakanda jungle dome. So we'll be a biome. I'm sorry, not dome, the jungle dome.
The jungle dome.
And then there will be a new outpost there, which I'm sure is going to be really cool.
Good for 3 minutes in the Wakanda dome.
The Wakanda jungle dome.
Love it.
I'm sorry.
That was phenomenal. Thank you, Jake.
Yeah, you're good. They're going to add additional content and features, Omega level threat missions, multiplayer mega hives, which is going to be great.
Yes.
There's going to be post level 50 progression for your characters, which I'm curious to see what that's going to be.
So they talked a little bit about that to the content creators. Basically, the example that like the standing example, just because I feel like was the earliest adopter and the most famous, is Diablo 3 and the Paragon system, where even when you reach max level, you are still leveling up your Paragon level, and each time you level that up, you can slightly increase a stat. Division 2 did it with Keener's Watch. Borderlands does it with Badass Ranks. That's actually what it's called. And it's just a very good system to have because it encourages you. Because right now we're doing a harm room. I'm playing Hawkeye. Well, I mean, I'm the only one that's level 50 because you guys switched characters.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I said, like, if I'm doing a harm room, like something that doesn't give me loot, I'm not getting anything unless if I'm working on my challenges, which I also kind of am. But that's a good thing to have because you're always working towards something, and that's the important thing that this game kind of needs.
And we've had the conversation too about this game a few weeks ago when they announced that they were making it harder to level your character. And you brought up the great point of, you can get to level 50 in a few hours, but getting to power level 150 is
he can get to level 50 in a few hours.
Steven,
I did something to my game and I have no idea how, but I leveled up Hawkeye to 50 in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, Steven
It happens so
has
fast.
superpowers or something. That's his superpower is he can
My
gain
superpower
XP.
is to level up the non-superpowered Avenger.
But yeah, we kind of discussed how it's hard. It's easy to get to power level 50, but not to get to get to level 50, but then
Character
to get to power level 50, which is the power cap, that takes a long time.
150.
So, making that power level 150, thank you. Getting, making that grind more even is going to be nice. So it would be nice because even still, I had my Thor to level 50 pretty quick, and then we've been working to get to 150 over the weekend, and I think I'm really close to doing it. I don't think I've quite done it yet, but having this additional like benefits of, hey, here's more you can work on with your character.
Right.
That's going to be nice to keep that momentum going, not just on gear.
Right.
So
honestly, the things I'm most excited for. Did my game just freeze? Did you guys freeze?
Everyone's
okay.
froze,
No,
yeah.
Okay. The thing I'm most excited for, well, the things I'm most excited for from this roadmap are probably the unspoken things.
Speaking of those, let me finish it up because there's just a tiny little list left. They're adding outfits to that are inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which will be cool, and then ongoing improvements, balance tuning, gear and progression, collectible comic systems, and matchmaking. So there you go. Finish your thought there, Steven.
So we know that they're working on loot,
Mm-hmm.
like they're doing a Gear 2.0 kind of thing, and that's probably going to go hand in hand with the post 50 progression, and just the quality of life stuff that they're doing with the game has me the most excited because honestly, I think that this game is on the right track. It just really needs an immediate fix to its loot game because I'm enjoying the loot grind, but I'm a nerd that loves doing the numbers and figuring out percentages and
crunching those numbers.
Yeah, Jeremy and I spend hours in the firing range on Division just because we can. And so that's the kind of people we are, but that's not the kind of people that most of their players probably are. So they do need to make the loot game more approachable, and just more concise, I think, because it's really hard right now. And I think they've confirmed that they are going to make it to where you can affect what stats you get on the gear that you're trying to get. Which is very good because I really like the stat system that's in the game. The whole the 4 cores, and then the cores have like their own substats that affect. I think it's a good system to have. But I would just like to have more control over it. And I think that's what they're working on.
Yeah.
A little more clean.
Yes. But they're doing a lot of good stuff for this game, and it's been encouraging to see that they've been saying like, hey, we're committed to this game for years to come. And it's like, well, yeah, you can say that, but I'm pretty sure BioWare said that about Anthem.
Right.
But it's nice because with Anthem, they pretty much were just like, the game launched and they were just like, okay, we told them that we're going to support it. What do we do now? We don't actually have a plan. But with CD, you can see they are showing their work. And that's even something else that they said to the content creators. They were very open, and they were just like, when the launch was rough, we stopped making new content, and we said we're going to make sure that what we have now is good, and it works before we release something broken. And that's respectable. And then they even followed that up with, we sucked at transparency, and that is now one of the core pillars of development for us. So they're going to try to do better about that transparency element. But I think that the game could potentially be in a good place if people can just stop being so ignorant. Because I can't tell you how many times I see on social media, like, hey, Hawkeye's out. And then the top 4 comments, I'm sure the 4 people that are still playing this game are thrilled. Like, I hate that kind of negativity.
We're 3 people still playing.
Well, Austin's playing.
There's at least 3. and then there's 4, yeah, if you count Austin. But yeah, no,
they're
that is
working
frustrating.
hard. They're putting in good effort, and that needs to be recognized and appreciated. And that's why I just want to give this game a hug, because we don't deserve. Well, we kind of do because we paid money, but like normally, if a game had the reception that this one had, they probably would have thrown in the towel by now, or planned to throw in the towel in the very near future.
Right. That would have been the end of it. Well, that kind of gets me to a point I wanted to make. So they announced Black Panther, right? Everyone's super excited about that. But they called it an expansion. And so everyone kind of thought for a moment, and I think Steven, you even were like, I wonder if that
when I
means,
hear expansion, I hear like this is an opt-in kind of thing where
this is going to be a paid edition.
purchase.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of again going with the just to mention Destiny again. You know, Destiny, the big update. Well, honestly, every seasonal thing that they do, you have to pay for. But the big update is usually pretty expensive to get in. I kind of thought, okay, that's what we're doing now. Is every year we're gonna have the big new hero and new map that we pay for. But no, that's not how it's going to be. The Black Panther is going to be a free edition, just like everything else has been so far, which to me is crazy. Like
it is. I was totally prepared. Like, okay, sure, that we're gonna have to pay for expansions, but whatever gets the game
going
alive,
again.
you know,
Yeah,
like, whatever keeps them making content. I'm prepared to do that, because this model was a great experiment, but if people aren't playing it, then it's not sustainable.
Right.
So I was shocked when they were just like, hey, just to clarify, this will be free. I wasn't expecting that. And just props to them for, they have a vision and they're sticking to it, even if it doesn't work. They seem
we don't
have
have Vision yet, but maybe he'll come eventually if they continue to stick to it.
I was trying to think of a way to work in WandaVision. I was just like, let it pass.
Yeah, but no. So that's amazing. So I don't think we're very far from it being something where the value, because I think it already has probably had a price drop in shops. I mean, in one more expansion even. Or honestly, now there's enough value in the game to get it. But you think about 1 or 2 more expansions like Black Panther, and you're just an idiot to not pick it up. So
I've said since probably September that this is one of those games that it's a sometimes game for now, but come back in like a year and they're really going to have something, because you can tell by the state that the game was in at launch. Because, as I've said many times, they thought they were going to be able to release content a lot quicker.
Right.
And then complication after complication showed up. So their model kind of got a wrench thrown in it.
Right.
But you could tell that this is a game intended to be a kind of slow burn, to where it's not something, it's the opposite of Outriders, to where they were going to gradually expand on the game over time, but over quicker bursts than like your Destiny or Division. And it was one of those things where it was like less about getting the new loot each update or all that. It was going to be more about a interconnected story with chapters happening every few weeks or every month or so or whatever.
Right.
That was the plan. But obviously that didn't work out. So
I'd much rather see that than every 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Get something.
All right, let's
tiny.
revisit this game because the new gear came out, or they rebalanced a bunch of stuff. So
yeah.
Well, and I think absolutely
in order for me to keep playing my same character, I have to completely change the way I play.
Right. Well, and I think having a new hero is way more enticing than, oh, here's a new piece of gear that will be good for a couple weeks, and then it'll eventually get outdated.
For sure.
And their initial plan was, and maybe this is still kind of their plan, I don't know, but the plan seemed to be that each big story update would be a new hero and a new villain. And if they had, you got to wonder how much would they have been able to accomplish if they didn't hit all these development complications in a year. because Hawkeye and Kate were supposed to be a few weeks apart. Kate came with the Super Adaptoid. Hawkeye came with Maestro. If you add a new hero and a new villain with every major story update, let's just say you could probably get like 6 heroes within a year with that model, because obviously they wouldn't release all of them a few weeks apart. But within a year, you've got more than double the content as far as like bosses are concerned than you did at launch. Like this game was supposed to be experienced over time.
Right.
Like that, no question about that. And it just really sucks that they had this good idea that I've loved, just the concept, but it just hasn't worked out for them. And I hope that they can get some stability and give us kind of a taste of what they were going to do. And you know, maybe eventually once the world stops collapsing, maybe actually get to that.
Right. Get to that full vision. So
yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Hawkeye expansion that is out now, and we've been playing a good bit of. Steven, we've talked about it. You're loving Hawkeye. You're playing Hawkeye. Give us your. I mean, we kind of all played the expansion together through Steven's eyes because we were supporting him. But talk about that, Steven.
I really appreciate just a quick shout out to my boys. You guys have been great about letting me hog the new content and just kind of coming along with me.
Our time will come.
Because
our time will come.
I have not let you touch Hawkeye like at all. And I don't want to because I enjoy him too much.
Our time will come. Not that I think either of you are going to fight me over Captain Marvel, but I'm definitely going to play Captain Marvel when she comes out.
The only fight regarding Captain Marvel that you might have with me is letting her in my team.
Whatever.
I'm excited for you to get Captain Marvel. I think she's going to fit right in this game.
The real one we're going to fight over is Doctor Strange. That's the one that's going to be a problem, but we'll see how that goes.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out along the way. But Steven, why don't you lead off?
When Batman comes to the game.
You know what, Jeremy? I'll let you have Batman. I'll give you that one. If that ever happens, you can have him. Steven, you're probably the most positive, and obviously you've played as Hawkeye the most. So what are your thoughts on this expansion and where we're at right now with the game?
The biggest problem, like the biggest mistake, like if I was to say that CD messed up somewhere in the development of this game's post-launch, I would say that they just really got the raw end of the deal when they decided their first 2 characters would be archers. Because from an outside perspective, you see Kate and Hawkeye standing next to each other in the game's logo, and you're just like, wait, there are 2 of them?
Why are there 2 of these characters?
Yeah, it just seems redundant. Because again, their original model left a lot more room to release characters quicker. So releasing 2 heroes very closely together wouldn't have looked so bad with them being so similar, because we would have had more coming shortly.
Right.
But this is where we were. Like we knew, okay, the first 2 heroes are going to be these guys. We'll deal with it. That's just rotten luck for everybody. And the concern was, is Hawkeye going to be an Echo Fighter? Is Clint going to be the same as Kate? And that was apparently their initial plan, was to make Clint and Kate virtually the same. But they decided, I think it was shortly after they started development of the characters, that it just didn't feel right. It felt like a disservice to the characters and to everyone involved. So they made it their goal to make these characters separate, yet share in the fact that they are mentor and mentee. And you can definitely tell that.
Right.
Because I am honestly very impressed, and this isn't the overall sentiment from a lot of people I'm noticing, but those people just need to pull the stick out their butt, because yes, they're both purple archers. That
the other 2 people that are playing.
Okay, which one of you is it? Which one of you is the 2? Is it both of you, or is Austin one of them? But they're both purple archers that use a katana, sure. But that is where their similarities stop. And the fact that that is all they have that's similar is pretty impressive, because, and I'm going to say, I'm going to, I know your question was, is Hawkeye good? How is Hawkeye? All that stuff. I'm going to draw a comparison to Kate so that I can clarify just how different they are. So Kate has the teleporter. That is a big mechanic for her. That's her intrinsic. So she's a lot more nimble and close to mid range. She can get in and out very quickly, and just she's faster. Clint does not have that. He has his quick reflexes, which sounds really lame, but it's not. It allows him to quickly respond. It is very true to the character. It allows him to quickly respond to attacks by doing a dodge and then responding with a trick arrow of some kind. Kate is more balanced between sword and bow, more straightforward with the bow probably because you got the single arrow, the spread arrow, and then the explosive arrow, so the 3 arrows that you would expect. Clint is like, how many arrows can we fit in this quiver? Because he has 10 total, I think. Not that he can shoot from aiming, but that he has in his arsenal. So he is a lot more focused on very specific needs from arrows. Very crowd control focused, and Kate is not crowd control focused at all, really, outside of her warp arrow, if you use that one modifier for it. But they play very differently. They fill different needs. Kate's more damage, I would say. Clint is more crowd control, which I like. But one of the things that I really like about their differences is that Kate, the example I've been using is that Kate is more of the she's an Olympic level gymnast or archer or both or whatever. So she's got a lot of technique. Like the way she moves feels very graceful and like somebody who knows has a way of doing things but hasn't seen the field as much. Fencing is an example that I've seen somebody make with her sword movements. But Clint, he moves like the guy that's been doing this for way too long. Like he just has an experienced carelessness to a lot of his animations that I really like. Like when you do the second boomerang arrow shot, he looks away. Like he turns and looks behind him and then fires the arrow blind. It's fantastic. And even just that small detail, you can feel that in the gameplay, and that's very much appreciated because like if Clint just felt like when he shot the bow felt like Kate did, then it would just be like, I don't get Hawkeye's personality in this, but you totally do in his animations because they cared enough to put that in there. I love his heroics. They're great. They're completely different from Kate's, not similar whatsoever.
Different arrows, different. You've got healing supports.
The healing arrow, the Night Storm arrow, I think. I can never get the name right, but basically it's an arrow volley that's super good. And then he's got the Hunter arrow, which is Yondu's arrow from Guardians of the Galaxy, basically. So nothing like Kate's stuff. The only thing that I don't like about him so far, and it's mainly just because it's an adjustment, because I like having control over my aim. Well, there's 2 things, I guess. One, with his razor arrows, which are the only arrows that he and Kate share in common, and it's just arrows that have a sharp tip. But even those, they share different functions between characters. But he has a perfect aim kind of thing. I'm doing it right now for anyone watching, where he can keep aiming at the same target for an extended period of time, and the longer he aims at them, the more damage and impact it does. My one complaint about that is that it charges slow enough to where there's not really any incentive to doing that as opposed to a pulsar arrow. Because the amount of time it takes me to get one lock, I could probably get 3 pulsars on a guy.
And your pulsars are amazing.
They are incredible. I'm going to switch to them right now. They are the equivalent of the explosive arrow for Kate, and they do explode, but it's like a timed explosion that I can detonate on my own, and also fully charged, I can pin people with them. So like,
it's almost like you have Thor's hammer, but in an arrow.
Yeah, I've got Thor's hammer that I can just fire near rapid. So I use those arrows a lot in big fights because while there may be a lot of adaptoids around, there may be a lot of synthoids, and I just tell you guys, hey, you deal with the adaptoids, I will crowd control. So I'll just start pinning these guys like so. Yeah.
So
pin
he
them
just
to the
starts
wall.
blasting.
I just stop blasting, and I can just keep pinning people and wait for the arrows to explode, or I can detonate them. But the longer they're out, as you can see, that one is turning red. That means that its damage is higher, and then it explodes. So it's a lot of management of traps and stuff. Very, very cool spin on the explosive arrow, and I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah.
They're very good. But yeah, and so with the perfect aim thing, I wish I was more incentivized to use it because I really like the razor arrows. But the appeal to the razor arrows for both Kate and Clint seems to be rapid firing them. So there needs to be more incentive to not rapid fire with Clint with the razor arrows specifically. And then here's the problem number 2. I actually just activated it. That's perfect. Is his intrinsic overcharge is perfect, or not perfect aim, auto lock or lock on or something. Basically, when he overcharges, he'll auto aim at a target, and then your right stick stops controlling your reticle and its target switches. So it's just very jarring all of a sudden, where if I move my stick and I'm suddenly overcharged, then I'm like spinning all over the place looking for a target. So that's going to take some adjusting to. But they did have the common sense to make it to where you can manually disengage it per time that you pull up the aiming. But still, I would still rather not have to do that.
You'd rather just have it disabled entirely, yeah.
Yes, because when you have lock on, you do get increased like crit chance and crit damage. So it's very useful. But I want to be able to control where my reticle goes all the time. So I like the idea of it because it very much does seem kind of like Hawkeye's, going hard with these arrows, and he's like in the moment, in the zone, and so he's just firing them off, and they're hitting exactly where they need to. Like it's like he's built momentum or something. I like the concept. It is not very well executed, so hopefully they'll clean it up a little bit.
Right.
But like I said earlier, and I know I've ranted a lot, but I knew within a very short time that he was my main because he's super fun. He is able to fill the damage role and the support role with such a good balance that I'm all about it. I'm here for it. And it's going to take, I think I said, it's going to take either Star-Lord or Doctor Strange coming to this game to get me off of Hawkeye, probably.
Well, hopefully we'll get those, but I'm glad it's good. I'm glad he worked out. And you did enjoy his abilities and everything. I'm also glad to hear that they don't feel the same, because that was a concern of mine as well. I was one of those people that was like, why are we going to have two of the same characters?
There's enough similarity where like you could pick up, like after playing Kate, you could pick up Clint and be like, okay, I get this. Like, which it makes sense because he trained her, so they have a similarity in combat expertise. But it's pretty much like it's the same principle of, would people get mad at a game for releasing Batman and Robin as different characters?
Right.
That's kind of the vibe that I get. It just happens to be harder to see it that way because using a bow and a sword is a lot more specific of a skill set than using a utility belt and various gadgets.
Yeah, I almost wish they had let one of them have the sword. that would have been a good way.
Honestly,
to distinguish
Clint
it as well.
Doesn't even need the sword,
right?
Which is great, because I was concerned that they were going to make, because of how good I thought they handled Kate's archery stuff, I was worried that Hawkeye would get the shaft, pun intended, on the archery stuff, and he'd end up being more of a sword character. But like all of his melee abilities are trick arrows.
Right.
So like his sword doesn't even need to be there. It's only there for like aerial attacks and to pay homage to the fact that Ronan exists, which I'm totally cool with. But I do think it would have been better if Clint just didn't have a sword. It would have helped.
Well, awesome. Well, what about playing through the story with you? I really liked the story. It's kind of hard in these kinds of games to really pay super close attention because you're worried about your flow as a team and what are we about to have to do next and everything. But It's really interesting what they're doing with the future and how we know this Kree invasion is coming. And I hope after this, it's not so much about, oh, here's what's in the future, but it's gonna be here. Okay, here's what we know is coming. How are we gonna deal with it? I hope that's kind of where this continues to go. But anyway, it was really good. Glad you're liking Hawkeye. The next gen version, I know, Jeremy, you don't have a PS5 yet, so you can't really mention much on this, but I do think it runs better. Well, I think certain things run better. We've had a lot more weird glitches, I think, in the new version, but I think some of that's just me. I think some of that's just our connections.
It's
together,
just general multiplayer issues. I think this game has some issues with
their servers.
Yeah, server issues.
So that's stuff that can be fixed and is probably still being adjusted. I know it's not easy to make to program a game for two different consoles essentially. So I'm sure they'll fix some of that in the updates to come. But anyway,
it's crazy to think they're having issues with like 4 people in here. It's wild.
Just those 4, yeah.
Sorry.
You're part of the problem.
I can say this: I've been having a lot more fun with it now. Coming back to it, when we first played it, I don't know how much we really played it. I know Steven and Jeremy, you guys played it a lot more. But I kind of
Jeremy just got it this week.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I got it like a week ago. Yeah.
Well, when we first got it, so just Steven. I left Steven alone because I just kind of walked away from it and wasn't ready to come back. Which is
understandable. Yeah.
Came back for Kate and gave it a little try, but just was not interested in continuing. I don't know if it's because I've determined to platinum it or what, or if I just understand what I'm going for in this game now better, or if it's just, it's had some time to cook and kind of figure itself out, and so I'm enjoying it a lot more. But I'm really, really enjoying it now. And I mean, we the last 3 streams we've had have been that, and then of course here on the podcast we're playing it again. So if that doesn't tell you, okay, it's back in, it's doing something right, if that doesn't tell you that, I don't know what will. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad we're all playing it together and enjoying it. As Steven said, it's nice when we all 3 are playing something that we all enjoy.
I love when that happens. It's so nice.
It's such a rewarding feeling.
And unfortunately, it's kind of rare, but
it is. Yeah. Well, this was the game when it first came out. It was like, this is going to be the game that does that for us, and hopefully, I hope it sticks and continues to do that for us, because I really want to enjoy this for a lot longer and keep it going. But we'll see. Well, hopefully,
I would love for Disney/Marvel to just be like, oh yeah, so this is the official title now, that every movie or anything that we come out with, the TV shows, like, yeah, you're gonna get an update that has something to do with that.
Right.
Yep.
That would be nice. That would be really, really
which
cool.
Is totally like that like Marvel Heroes.
It's plausible.
Yeah, they did that with Marvel Heroes, and they weren't even affiliated directly with I don't think they had any kind of like direct partnership with Marvel. I think they just had permission.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would love to see that. That'd be great.
Speaking of things we'd love to see, one thing we didn't see in this presentation was any mention of Spider-Man, which originally was said it was coming in 2021. Early 2021. They did confirm that he will not be coming before Black Panther. He will be sometime after Black Panther. So I think best case, he'll be like 2 or 3 months after Black Panther. Worst case, he'll be like early 2022. Or late
calling it
December.
If they get their act together, like if they finally hit their stride, Spider-Man's going to release alongside No Way Home.
Right. And when is that? Is that in July?
That's December, I think.
Is it? You're right. It is December. Yeah. So that would be perfect timing. It would technically still be in 2021. So they can check that box, but it's also as late as it could possibly be, and it ties in with a movie. That would be nice. I was kind of thinking they would try to time it with another hero coming out, just because I do think it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for some people. Of hey, this character is only for PS5, and it's like you mean to tell me we've had 2 archers and a
that was
cat?
my initial thought. 2 archers and a cat. That sounds great for you, Jake.
I mean, I'm excited about it. Don't get me wrong. That's like 3 of my boxes right there. But yeah, I just think some people are going to be. That's going to be a tough pill to walk people through.
Absolutely. But you are going to have that regardless.
Yeah, that's going to come either way.
I think you have more to gain than you do to lose in that situation, because you have people who are going to be really excited about the Spider-Man movie. I mean, I impulse bought Ant-Man on Marvel Heroes after seeing the movie, because I was like, I had never really seen anything from Ant-Man before, and Ant-Man, I enjoyed the movie so much and thought his power set was cool enough to where it was like, I really want to play this character in Marvel Heroes. And then I logged on, bought him, and they got that purchase out of me because of synergizing the release of the film and the game.
Right.
So
that stuff works if they can just do it. Well, awesome. I think that's really all we've been playing this week is Avengers. So nothing else really to catch up on. But one thing we have been watching is Falcon Winter Soldier. We did this with WandaVision, where every week at the end of the episode, we just kind of talked through the most recent Marvel show episode and just kind of gave our thoughts on it. Now that Falcon Winter Soldier has started, we're going to continue that trend and just, give our thoughts. So, Steven, did you come up with a name for this segment? Because we called it Wanda Watch last time.
Bird Watch.
I don't hate it. It's not the worst it could have been. I'll maybe allow it. Okay, Birdwatch. So Falcon Winter Soldier episode 1 came out. Spoilers from here on out, but just to get us into this, top level thoughts. What did you guys think?
It is go ahead.
I was just going to say the quality was ridiculously good. I mean, I've been blown away with how much Disney's putting into these shows.
Yeah, especially this one. Just from that scene with Falcon, like flying, getting in fights with the helicopters. That was
at the beginning of it. That whole fight sequence was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Falcon it felt like a movie.
Yeah, he did.
Falcon has a staggering kill count.
There was one where I forget exactly what happened, but one of those, they were paragliding, right? And he did some move and threw one of those guys into a rock, and then he fell. And I was like, ooh, that guy's dead. I was like, there's no coming back from that. That guy is just done. He
has about 30 seconds to contemplate his life choices.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it definitely felt like a movie. It was very, very good. And I think what I really like most about these shows, and obviously this still stands to be proven true, but I think even more so than the movies, this is a great way to dissect a character. Because the whole episode, it was tossing back and forth between Falcon and Winter Soldier, and just kind of what are they dealing with. So Sam is working for the Air Force, kind of as a I don't know if would you call him a mercenary? Like, I mean, he's still operating as Falcon.
He's a contracted.
Contracted, okay. Because there's in the mission we're talking about where he's fighting all the dudes in helicopters and paragliding and all that stuff. It definitely felt like, or there was something about they can't know that we're involved in this. Like, you've got to do it alone. So it's definitely he's working for them, but he's not like directly associated with. So
if they had failed, they probably would have had all deniability saying that he does not serve the United States government. That whole thing.
Yep.
Also, real quick, the lead bad guy in that first scene, was that Batroc the Leaper from Captain America Winter Soldier?
Yes.
It was? Okay.
Yes.
Because I saw him, I was like, I swear that's the guy from Winter Soldier.
I'm surprised you picked up on. I didn't pick up on that, but watching some breakdowns, people mentioned that, and I was like, oh wow, I would not have picked up on that.
Yeah, I remember because I had a hard time forgetting him because it's such a stupid villain name. And again, mentioning Marvel Heroes for like the third time, he was a mini boss in Marvel Heroes, and he was this dude with this really thick French accent and a really stupid outfit. And it was like, I'm never going to forget you. You've made your impression. You've made your mark, Batroc the Leaper. Good job.
You made your mark. That's awesome. But yeah, we got to see what Sam's doing, and he's struggling with his family, helping his sister support their family business. And then we're seeing Winter Soldier kind of for the first time outside of a war. He has that line where he mentions that he's just jumped from war to war. Truly a Winter Soldier. And kind of seeing him deal with all that he's done and how that's affected other people's lives. And he's got that list of all the people that he killed as his time as Winter Soldier. And he's trying to make amends for all of them. And of course the main one that we saw in this was the dad of somebody he killed.
That was such a good twist, because I didn't think about that. And then I saw the picture and I was like, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
It was very well done.
I thought it was that initially when I saw him on screen, I thought it was just the same guy, older.
Yeah.
Like he didn't actually kill him. Yeah. That would have been interesting.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
Looked bad. But can I just say, Sebastian Stan is so good. Bucky Barnes, he's so good.
He's really good.
I love him as an actor. I just want to see more from him, and I really, really hope that this show ends with him getting the shield. It just that arc would make so much sense.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was just about to say I know there's going to be a lot of arguments about that. I don't think that's where this is going to end, Steven, to be honest with you. But if for no other reason than Sebastian Stan is amazing and needs a full-time role, I would say yes. I hope that happens, just because he is really, really good. Not to say that the guy that plays Sam isn't good. He's in a lot of stuff, and he's really good in everything he's in. But Sebastian is just kind of on another level.
Sebastian's got some really good range.
Mm-hmm.
That Anthony Mackie, I don't think quite has his range. Anthony Mackie is really good in these Marvel roles, and he's really good like in comedic roles as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think Sebastian Stan's just got more range than him, and his character, like just Bucky getting the shield, would make so much more sense to me, because Sam, like if they're going to team up, and I said this after Endgame, it makes so much more sense to me to give Bucky the shield so that he can spend basically his new tour of duty, paying for everything he's done, serving the country as its symbol, and Sam being his moral compass, the person that guides him along the way. That makes so much sense. And
it definitely along those same lines, it makes more sense to give him a deeper story than to just be like, oh yeah, Falcon's been, serving the country for so long now, he deserves the shield, instead of being like, well, there's not really a depth to the story there. It's literally just being like, yeah, here.
Right. And
you get the shield because Cap was like, nope.
Yeah, because Cap insisted. He even said, like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Well,
and it feels like somebody else's from the beginning.
It just makes so much more sense. His character. He's just not. He's a great like to say sidekick is doing a disservice. He's a great support character.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to get into it, the show starts off with that. It picks up right there with that line of how does it feel? It feels like someone else's. And then we see him give over the shield to the government, where he thinks it's going to go into Cap's part of the museum in the Smithsonian.
How long do you think it sat in that cage?
I think the moment he turned around, somebody was like, "Okay, let's break this shit down. Let's get it into business."
I think the government already had a plan in place. They were like, so when we find that shield, we have this dude.
Oh yeah, no, I think they were like,
he's a famous YouTuber, Casey Neistat.
I think they had him in place, and it was like, crap, how do we get the shield from Sam without taking it from him? So absolutely, yeah, they had that plan from the get-go. But I think what's going to end up happening is this whole series is going to be about Sam accepting the shield. And
I hope not.
that's
you're
where
probably
it's
right.
going to go.
I really hope.
I mean, I would love to see Sebastian Stan, Bucky be Cap, but I don't know. I just don't think that's
he's
where it's
the
going.
guy with the metal arm. He's a brawler by nature in the way he fights. Sam is literally a guy with wings. He needs to be aerodynamic. The shield is a large dinner plate. That doesn't make sense.
It's not going to work.
From the stuff that's actually like shown in some of the other trailers, like
Mhm.
the actual like scenes, him throwing them against the trees and then like trying to catch it, you can see that he's struggling with having the strength to actually wield the shield correctly.
Also, he does not have super soldier serum. Bucky does.
Yeah.
It's an off-brand Russian super soldier serum, but it's still a serum.
See, those shots that you're talking about, Jeremy, I think
Yeah.
that is going to be the end of I think that's like last or next to last episode stuff. Because at this point, just to skip ahead of the episode, you know, the episode ends with the introduction of the U.S. agent, John Walker, I think is his name. He is the government issued new. Say again.
What a like
The most
basic white man name. I know, absolutely.
Yeah.
John Smith.
that would have been better, but yeah, that's not where we end up. So anyway, they introduces him. He has the shield, right? The government lied to Sam. They took it so they could instate their own Cap. Where was I going with that? Sorry. I don't know how they're gonna get it back from him. I'm assuming they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna directly fight it. I don't know how they're gonna get it back. But at this point, they don't have it. So I don't think in the next 2 or 3 episodes we're gonna see Sam get the shield back, start training with it to take on another force. I feel like those shots in the trailer are either just fake and that those are never going to be in the show and it's just misleading. But more likely, I think it's going to be last or next to last episode stuff, where he's kind of finally accepting it. But I don't know. It could also be, it could be a redirect entirely where we think that, and then he's gonna, you know, we see those scenes. We know Winter Soldier's with him there. It's possible that he'll hand it to him and say, "This really belongs to you." Who knows?
And that would make, again, just adding to that. But Sam has been trying to reach out to Bucky. We know that from he's got a lot of missed calls. If Sam gets the shield, what purpose does Bucky serve? Bucky's not pursuing Sam. Sam is pursuing Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's when he was in there with the therapist, and she was like, "You've missed all these calls from Sam." I was like, "Okay, so he has been trying to give the shield."
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
And
yeah.
That was just my initial thought.
So it really could turn around and be that both of them are coming to terms with,
so you
being the shield wielder,
running from the responsibility as well.
Because even in
Bucky's kind of running from the responsibility too.
Maybe. Well, he's running from everything because he's trying to find himself after,
going from war to war.
60 years of bouncing in between killing people and
waking up in a different decade, killing somebody and going back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his brain being constantly reprogrammed and him being just an asset instead of a person. Now he's trying to find himself as a person, and that's a hard thing to do.
Well, also,
I thought it was really interesting how they actually made him sit down with the psychiatrist, and she was like, "Cut the bullshit. I know how you are. I was a soldier too.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but you need to move on from that."
Yeah. Also, now thinking about that moment where Falcon went to Cap at the end of Endgame, even then you could say that that's him running from the responsibility too. Because Sam looks to him for approval. And at first I viewed it as Bucky saying like, "No, it's you." But you could also turn it around and say, "No, that was him saying, I'm not ready either." So
I don't think either of us are actually ready to take up that mantle.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever so thinks they have the
here's what's going to happen, guys. It's going to come out, like it's going to be revealed that U.S. agent is actually Mephisto, and the shield never left Sword headquarters. It's a fake.
Well, what's really going to happen is that Cap is on the moon and he's being de-aged.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard.
And that's, what's going to happen. So that was something funny. Everybody thought that the first episode, because I think it's actually called R.I.P. Cap, right? That's what the first episode was called? A lot of people thought, oh, this is going to start with a funeral, and it's going to be Cap's funeral, but it ended up just being the Smithsonian thing, which was still
What
still
happened
great.
to Cap? Where
We
is
don't
he?
know. We don't know. That's the whole thing. He could be on the moon for all we know. That's what I was really expecting him to have a funeral in this,
Probably at a
in this
Shoney's
episode.
somewhere. Some old person.
The Shoney's.
Me and Peggy have been to Shoney's since it opened in
Early bird
1995.
special.
I mean, it's who knows where he is. So we don't know. That's a mystery that could be answered. We might have another moment with him and Bucky and Falcon, where
I
he's
bet he
kind of
just
like,
has a house in like New Jersey.
Yeah.
who
He has
knows?
kids.
That would be cool if the scene of whoever's accepting the shield, like their come to terms moment was visiting him at his home and getting to see Cap with his family. That would be really cool.
What if that's his home in the trailer that Falcon is practicing with
It
the
looked
shield?
like that was probably
That was New Orleans.
It
yeah,
definitely
was
looked
in
like New
New
Orleans.
so it was
Yeah.
probably the
Yeah.
Wilson home.
I'm just throwing out ideas, guys. You know what I mean?
No,
While,
I appreciate
Yeah.
it, but you're wrong.
You're wrong, but thanks.
while we're talking about Sam and his family, something that was really interesting was the scene with the bank. So his sister's been struggling to keep their family business afloat. Sam is like, look, let's go to the bank. We'll get a loan. Like we're not gonna have any issues. And she's like, I've been down this road. They're not gonna listen. And he's like, they'll listen to me. And they go and they have this whole banker scene where the banker is obviously, starstruck. And he asks the question, he's like, so how do Avengers make money? And Sam never really gives an answer. He's like, I've got these government contracts, you can see that I'm making money there. But then he also mentions, he's like, well, you don't have any income for the last 5 years. And it's like, well, I got blipped. Like you would think a bank
Please
would
don't call it blipped.
what do you
Please
want me to call it, Steven? He got decimated.
Got snapped, dusted, decimated, anything but the blip. I hate it so much.
I don't know what to tell you, Steven. They call it the blip in everything.
I don't understand. You mean to tell me that Peter Parker's high school created the term?
Steven, I don't know if you're familiar with Gen Z, but they're kind of taking over the world right now. You and I were millennials, we used to be running the world. Now our time's over. Okay. It's the
No
Gen
one
Z
told
now.
me that I was running the world at any point. I didn't.
Unfortunately, Fortnite is a thing, Steven. We just have to come to
No.
terms with
You just have to come to terms with it. So, but whatever. You would think the bank would have some sort of thing with that, but I don't know. That struck me as a very interesting scene. We talked about it a little bit before the podcast of just like, I thought that was a great question of just like, how do they make money? Because I always kind of assumed, and the guy even mentioned this, he was like, does Tony Stark pay you guys? Like,
That's a big part of it.
You think that was where some of that came from?
I mean, he had that line in Age of Ultron where he was just like, where
he bankrolls it.
Yeah, Maria Hill said, it's all yours, boss, or something. And Tony turned around and said, oh, I'm not the boss. He is. He pointed to Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm just the guy that pays for everything. And that whole line, basically, where when they started out, that's how it worked. When they were operating outside of S.H.I.E.L.D., when S.H.I.E.L.D. got outed as Hydra, Tony paid for everything. But I think when they reformed at the end of Age of Ultron, that's when they became a government-funded organization to some extent.
Checkpoint.
Yep.
What I'm trying to think of what else. So what we talked a little bit about the reveal with Winter Soldier. He killed that guy's son. Where do you think that's going to go?
I think it's just going to continue with the themes of his guilt and try and find a way to move on past that.
Yeah.
Almost as if
it's probably going to come to a head again.
Yeah.
I mean, during the date, you can tell that he was obviously like
really stressing out about it.
After she was like, oh my God, he's a different person. He's completely changed now. And you could see the guilt on his face of him just being like,
I said to
I did
Anna,
that. So
I said to Anna, how well do you think this girl thinks this date's going?
pretty well. I mean, she looked like she had a good time.
I loved that date.
They were playing battleships.
Yeah. It just, if I was her, I'd be like, this guy does not want to be here.
Yeah,
It was a good scene, but
right.
like, and that really just plays to the fact that he probably did want to be there, but he doesn't know how to show it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's just scrambled eggs up in the brain, pretty much.
Scrambled eggs in the brain. That was great. I loved when she asked, she's like, so how old are you? And he's like, without skipping a beat, he's like 106.
106. And she's just like,
Funny.
I loved it.
like, no, seriously. And he just took the swig of the beer, like rolling his eyes. Oh, man.
He's got such a good like straight man like comedy thing going to where like when he said to the woman through the window where he was just like, hello, I'm doing this to make amends before he like cut her. Like that was hilarious because he gave her the like little smirk. I thought that was great.
It was like he was literally reading it off of a cue card.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. I'm trying to think of
Don
what else.
Cheadle was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I thought that was a great cameo.
I loved that.
Their little talk was,
it was good.
That was like the one part of it that I was like, damn, that's really good.
Yeah. That was
and
the
then him
point.
being like, I'll be in touch. Like, ooh.
That was the point of the show where I was just like, this is what I wanted Marvel TV to be when they announced it.
Yeah.
Just
the intertwining of like every story.
Yes. A character can show up. And WandaVision, we got a bit of that with like Darcy and Wu and was there someone else? But yeah. And it's just cool to see that we're going to be getting more of that. I love that. I think that's great.
Well, and I think too, the just getting to spend a lot of time with some characters that we maybe haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with yet. I think all that's going to be great. Let's talk about the villain. The red, what do they call them? The World Busters?
Flag Smashers.
Flag Smashers. That's what it is. All I know is there's a globe on their hand and they're busting it or something. So yeah, flag busters.
Their theme song is Ghostbusters, but they replaced the word ghost with world. Ghostbusters.
Flag Smashers.
What do you guys think about them? I think the group was very interesting. I liked how they had the app and like all the people just showed up and it was like run and they just kind of used the masses to help whatever they were stealing, help that heist go smooth.
Yeah. I'll be more interested to see like what the actual character is with the Flag Smashers. I'm not familiar with them from the comics or anything. So
I really like the world building in this has been very good. I like how connected it is to explaining the post-snap world. And I think the idea of a group of people that thought they were better off is really interesting because we are taught in Endgame, like whatever it takes, we're going to fix everything. We're going to bring them back. And it's like, because they do a thankless job. You have this large group of people that's just like, no, we liked it better the way it was. That's an interesting concept.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's very interesting. And we didn't see any of Zemo in this, which I think was good. I think we needed to spend a lot of time with Falcon and Winter Soldier to see like where are they at right now. But do you think he's going to be with the Flag Smashers or is he going to be his own thing?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Because what even is Zemo's motivation to do anything else? Like that's the question.
Right.
Because
I thought he died at the end of Civil War. I didn't realize
he tried to shoot himself and T'Challa caught the bullet with his suit. And which I love that scene too. Like I know that's not even connected to this, but because he got T'Chaka killed, and Black Panther caught the bullet and was like, enough people have died. Like, that was just such a Black Panther moment.
He's so good. I hate that we've lost Chadwick Boseman. He was so great in that role. But yeah, well, I'm excited to see what Baron Zemo does in the rest of this. I'm assuming he's separate from the Flag Smashers, but I guess it could come out that he's behind them or working with them somehow. Because that seems like something he would be. I mean,
whether he believes their ideals or he's using the growing of that ideal to heighten whatever his agenda is, we don't know. But because with me, I'm just so curious what his thing is now, because in Civil War he was out for revenge,
Right.
and he won. He
split
basically
the Avengers.
He caused the snap. If you think about it. So I'm curious, like, what does he have now? So and Zemo, I love that actor. He is a great actor in the few things I've seen him in. But I'm very excited to see what they do with him, because Zemo is a very good villain in the comics, or at least he can be.
I hope Sam and Bucky get together in the next episode. I'm ready for some of this buddy cop that we've been hearing all about. That
Bucky
this episode's gonna, but the Bucky cop, the birdie cop. Yeah, that's gonna be good. So all in all, it's a great show. I was a little afraid after WandaVision that coming to this was gonna be rough, but I think this was more of a return to what we're used to with Marvel. So it honestly probably worked in WandaVision's favor that this flip around happened. Because I think
so.
I think coming from this,
I think it was a smarter move than going straight into into this.
Yeah, we had the benefit of not seeing anything for so long that anything Marvel was great, and now we've got really good Marvel stuff. So it's gonna be smooth. Hey guys, thanks for watching this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, all that good stuff. If you're watching on Facebook, you're at Chortle Games on Facebook. You can also like, share, follow the page for more podcast and gaming content. If you're an audio listener, you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we'd appreciate it if you could leave us a review. That really helps people find the channel and the podcast, so we'd appreciate that. And then the podcast airs every Monday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. But that's not all we do here on the channel. We live stream throughout the week. We live stream on YouTube and Facebook, but we also live stream on Twitter. That's at Chortle Games on Twitter, and on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chortle_games. So you can watch us wherever you'd like to watch us there. As for our streaming schedule this week, it's going to be a little weird, a little different. Lots of stuff. Steven's going to Hawaii.
Yes, Hawaii.
He's going to be drinking some Mai Tais and sipping on some coconut water or something with a lua. And hula hooping.
Hula hooping. Really?
I don't know. Surfing? You going to surf?
Yes.
If you surf, please get a video of it. Oh, you're going to surf the web. Very nice.
I would totally surf if it was a private beach and no one could watch me fail.
Well, that defeats the purpose. I just wanted a video of it. Anyway, Steven's going to be vacationing this week. I've got a big wedding I'm shooting this weekend, so our schedule is going to be a little off. Steven is going to stream tonight, if you're watching this on Monday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. He's going to stream Crisis, try to wrap that forward compatible series up. And then Tuesday, we are going to do our group stream. Just going to be honest with you, it's probably going to be Avengers. If you hate Avengers and want something else, get over it. No, leave us a comment. We might be swayed, but I think most likely this is where we're going to land.
Until one of you suckers gives us a good argument as to why it should be something else, it's going to be Avengers.
It's going to be Avengers. So we're just having way too much fun with it right now. So we're going to ride that wave while we can, you know. The wave is not going to last forever. So we got to hold on to it. So what else was I going to say? We might do a stream Thursday. I'm actually going to be going out of town Friday, so we'll try to keep our normal Thursday. I don't know what it'll be. It might be just me. It might be me and Big Germ playing Avengers. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. We may kick Steven out. I might try Hawkeye. So
no, he's mine.
Steven's going to make me play as somebody else, but he's going to insist that Hawkeye is in the party so that it's like he's getting some experience.
It's like I'm there. I don't like being left out of things.
It'll probably be a solo from me, but we'll see. Anyway, that's going to be it for this week. So be sure to tune in for those. And, you guys got a 5-hour stream last night, or Saturday night. So, that's kind of covering a little bit of the lack of streams this week. So, Anyway, that's going to be it for the podcast today. Steven, Jeremy, thank you guys for being here.
Absolutely.
Yep. Happy to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in the streams this week. Peace.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye to Lucky. I'm petting Lucky.